Just a couple more comments about Petra's question on business to consumer. So you're selling to someone else who's then selling to consumers. Um, a common trap is when this intermediary isn't clear about what they want, or you don't really understand what the intermediary wants. And often it's worth really stopping and asking them, say, because they need to risk some of their reputation to sell your product onto their consumers or their customers or to recommend it or whatever. I used to have a product which worked this way with agencies. We sold to agencies, then the agencies sold it on to the brands that they worked with. And it was really frustrating for us because agencies would say, yeah, we love it. And then they would go into the meetings and they wouldn't actually promote it. They wouldn't actively sell it. And when I dug into what was happening, they loved having options. Like they loved knowing that they could sell our product if they needed to, but they weren't motivated for it to be one of their kind of top three that they actively pitched. It wasn't top of their list, you know? And it took me a while to figure out, but when I talked to them more, I was able to ask questions like, hey, like, what would we need to be able to show you for this to be one of the first things you promoted? What would we need to give you for you to be happy, like actively selling this? And the whole conversation changed once I'd asked those questions. We stopped just pitching our product and we started saying, what do you need to be super excited about this and go out and really do it? And for them, it was like case studies and it was proof of returns on revenue. So they liked the product, but we hadn't provided the case studies that they needed, which meant they didn't feel safe actively pushing it on their customers. Whereas if we could show them, hey, here's the data, it's totally safe, here's the evidence, these are your returns, here's the stats, all this stuff, it totally changes the way they think about it. And so that was a really frustrating kind of 6 months for me because I was depending on these people, these agencies as an intermediary, but I didn't really understand what they wanted. And so it's worth spending the time, like what do they need? Do they need profit? Do they need something that looks really innovative and flashy and is a cool case study? Do they need something they can get PR around because it's got a great story? Like, what do they care about? It'll serve you well to figure that out, especially if your business depends on them. And also, last, I ask this question a lot, but you can ask them when they worked with other companies in the past, why it failed. It's like, hey, when you've tried to do stuff with startups like this before, like, why didn't it work out? Can you tell me what went wrong? Because sometimes that'll both tell you what they're afraid of, and it'll also help you identify these common traps so that you can do better. And all of a sudden, like finding out what they're scared of and what went wrong, it tells you what to do right.